Alright, sorry about that. I was meant to pause the video recording and instead I hit stop, so the video abruptly ends and then you have another video to watch. Okay, so getting off here, and as I was doing that, I was like, wait a minute, you probably maybe already saw this. I'm going way over top on what I need to do here. I'm going to go ahead and route that ground plane back in. So I'm just going to go ahead and route this ground plane back in. I still need to connect there, but notice, hey look, I could just run a connection from right here up to here. Now I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I'm like, wait, I drew this line segment that I don't want. I'm going to show you something that's kind of nice here. There's these things that are called super filters. Right now the super filter is off, so that means you can select anything. But if I turn my C-line super filter on, all I can do is select these copper traces. So even if I go over the components, all I'm selecting is the copper traces. It's a quick, easy way to delete copper traces. So I'm just going to highlight it, and then I like to always make sure to turn it off. But there's other, super filters that you can do. There's a via super filter, which is really nice if you never need to change the pad stack for the vias. So I'll turn that back on. And then let's go to, again, route, connect, route, connect, there we go. Sometimes you need to click just in the general area outside of any circuit element. And then I'm going to go back down here and connect it up to the power. Now, I should notice a couple things here. One, everything's connected, all the rat nest lines are gone, and I don't have any little warning things with little red boxes. You can always make sure you're okay by doing check and DRC update. And notice how it went from red to green here. That means you haven't avoided any design rule checks. Now, if you were to do this as a full-time career, I mean, the layout specialists spend loads of time talking about, they have all sorts of different design rules. There's all sorts of things that you have to be more careful with, like having traces too big or too thick or close together creates antennas and all sorts of other issues that we're not getting into in this video. Now, that being said, most of the circuits you're going to be building for your labs or senior projects are ones that we can kind of get away from that. But if this is something that interests you, there's a whole host of other things that you have to be concerned about when doing these layouts here. Alright, but now we're at a spot where we can create the actual artwork films here. And then that's essentially the last part, because once you create the artwork films, you're ready to etch the actual board. Alright, so let's go ahead and first off, what I'm going to do here, even though it's going to yell at me, it doesn't like to have this here, I'm going to do board geometry, and I'm going to create an outline here for the board. And I'm going to put in a line width of 5. And the reason you want to do a line width of 5 is otherwise when you create the artwork film, it's not going to show up. And so when we try to put in the outline of the board here, it won't actually show. So what I'm going to do is actually just draw in by hand the actual, and it's going to say, hey, should use cutout. Okay, well fine, we'll use the cutout one instead. Here, let's do this here so it doesn't yell at us. Let's cancel this. Where was that? Well, let me try this again here. That's not going to yell at me again. I couldn't remember where it said the cutout was. It's in one of these layers here. But because if you go to board geometry, there's no cutout here, but it's in one of those layers. So I'm just going to still keep it in the outline layer, which is fine. So I'm going to place this line here, and I'm going to just place it up here, and then go straight down. I'm at 90 degrees. Oh, now it says warning. Design, outline, and cutout are the preferred subclasses. Okay, so let's try and find maybe design outline. Does it have that? Let's see here. I always use the one that you're not supposed to, so yeah, I'm just going to leave it as that. So then we're going to create this here and kind of go back and done. So that is my outline that I've created here, which is really not part of the, if we had done a better job, we could have had that when we first started using the board wizard. But I always draw them in at the end anyway because I want the line thickness there. Alright, so now we're ready to start generating some artwork, but I want to create this outline. This outline is going to be information for basically being able to cut the board out, because I'm not going to use a whole piece of copper for this. Alright, so what we want to do first here is we're going to actually do something that seems a little weird. We're going to go to the color dialog and we're going to turn everything off. And it looks like it's disappeared on us. That's just because we've turned all the layers off. We're going to go to Geometry, Board Geometry, and turn the outline back on. And then I'm going to click OK. So we have just the board outline showing up here. Then I'm going to go to Export Gerber, and we've got this domain selection. I'm going to add, not text, sorry, right click here and say add, and enter a new, I'm sorry, not add, what is it? Add manual here. Enter new file name. I think it's just add. Let's try this here, outline. Yeah, so outline. And what that has done is that's just created a new artwork layer, but all it contains is this outline. Whatever is visible here is what's in this now. So let's go back here, click OK, and we'll turn everything back on just so we can see it. Alright, now we're at the export here, and we're going to do Gerber. And so you can see outline, it's got what is in outline. It's got board, geometry, outline. And if you go bottom, it contains etch bottom, pin bottom, via class bottom, and then it's also got etch top, pin top, and everything else like that. Well, we don't have a top, so I don't need to create an artwork file for that. So I'm just going to select these two here, bottom and outline, and I'm just going to say create artwork. And it's going to say, hey, our preserved, do you want to continue? Yes. I'll go ahead and continue, and it's going to be successfully completed. Now, I'm just going to show you where those were created. So if I go to Cadence and Layout and Allegro, we have bottom.art, and now it's actually listed as a Word file here. Not a Word, it's a Word doc file. I'm just going to open it up here. This is what it looks like inside here. And actually I made one mistake here, so we're going to have to generate it again, I think. No, we're good. I'm thinking the other thing we have to do. We're good. So that created the bottom one, and then you can see we have an outline one as well. And it's of course much smaller because it's literally just the outline of the board. And this is basically commands that the software can read in to know where to etch copper, where not to etch copper, where to cut the board out. Alright, so those files we will need when you are trying to etch your board. The other file is the board file you should always keep as well in case we need to make modifications. Then the other thing we need is a drill file. So I'm going to click on OK here. I need a drill file because I need to tell it where to drill. So we're going to do NC drill and bring this over here, and it gives it a name. But before you do that, you need to make sure some things are selected here. Auto tool select has to be chosen, and you have to go under parameters and make sure that enhanced Excelon format is selected. If you don't do this, you will not create a file that is compatible with our etcher. So you need to make sure to do that, and then just click on drill. It will probably say there might be, oh no, successfully completed. It might show a warning. You're probably okay with that. And then let me again go back to showing you what has been created. And it's the drill file here. and I'll just select a program to open it. These are just text files, so I don't want to always open it. We'll just use WordPod. And then basically what it's doing here, I can show you, is it's saying the hole one size, it's a 31.5 mil hole that is drilling, and then it's giving the X and Y coordinates for each of those holes that needs to be drilled, and that's TO1, TO2, you know, it's again different thing. And so this is how it's going to do auto tool select, is it's saying it's going to know what drill bit size to use, and then it's also then going to know how many where to drill each of those holes. Alright, so that's actually it. You'll also need to, of course, give the drill file in order to etch your board. But then at that point, once it's etched, you're ready to either put solder paste on it to put your components on, or you're ready to just put your through-hole components on and start soldering